You can't scream it's about healthcare when you shut down the government to stop services to the very citizens who rely on it. Democrats are fighting for revisions that actually cut $50 billion from rural hospitals. These are the same hospitals that they claim women would suffer without. And while they point the finger at Republicans for not negotiating, there is nothing to negotiate. The continuing resolution is the exact same one they voted for 13 times before. There's nothing new. But this time, the Democrats loaded it with $200 billion in healthcare provisions, not for you, not for your family, but for non-citizens. That's Medicaid, Medicare, Obamacare, all funded by your tax dollars. And the part they don't want you to know is that they slipped in a loophole to the insurance companies so that they can bill Medicaid at higher rates for illegal immigrants than for American citizens. That scam alone is $28 billion, on top of $6 billion carved out for illegal immigrants with criminal records so that they could get healthcare too. So tell me, how does shutting down the government or dumping another $200 billion we don't have help a single American citizen? Oh yeah, it doesn't. I need to wake up and stop voting for these people who are voting against you.
So stupid Trump shut down the government to make you pay more for health care. Let me tell you what this is really about. You see, every year there's money from Washington that goes towards making sure your health care premiums don't go up a lot more. That money came through Obama, Trump's first term, and Biden's term. But now all of a sudden Trump says he wants to get rid of them for the rest of your life. I want to say that again. Forever. So first he raised your prices with these stupid tariffs, and now energy's high, groceries high, everything's high. And now on top of all that, he wants to make healthcare higher. Wait, there's more. He's doing this at a time in which he's literally giving Argentina $20 billion to go fund their healthcare. $20 billion for Argentina, no money for Americans. These people have lost their mind.
The administration is claiming this is about Democrats wanting to give health care to undocumented people.
They wanted to give health care to illegal aliens instead of keeping critical services provided for the American citizens.
This is not true. The Democrats want federal subsidies to continue to help American citizens afford Obamacare policies and reverse cuts to Medicaid. Neither of those changes, neither one of those changes would provide health coverage to undocumented immigrants.
Right.
They are not eligible for any of those programs, none of them, and haven't been for decades.
Right.
Not eligible, against the law. It's not, they're not telling you the truth.
Hello Sistalk family, welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Teresa.
And I'm Scholar, and if you're new here, this is Sistalk Reacts, where we react to trending stories all over the world with thoughtful perspectives and engaging discussion. So if you haven't subscribed,
Please subscribe for us. We will really appreciate.
Without further ado, let's get into it.
Guys, America's healthcare is losing it now. And you know what? TikTok has a lot to say about it.
Let's dig into it. So after the government shutdown, patients are seeing higher hospital bills. They're also seeing delayed care. And guess what? Hospitals are running short, out of staff. And people are literally asking themselves, I mean, is this what we pay taxes for?
So before we comment on this topic, let's first of all see the reaction of how people reacted on this topic of healthcare, and then we'll come back with our full commentary at the end of the video. Stay tuned.
Chuck Schumer is screaming, 10 million people are losing their health care. He is correct. He is absolutely correct. 10 million people are losing their health care. But what Chuck Schumer has failed to specify is that none of them are American citizens.
A lot of you guys are saying that on the social medias here, and you're all wrong. Giving money and or free health care to undocumented immigrants is not what the Democrats are proposing. It's not too often that a legacy media outlet will just outright debunk a claim from one side or the other, but the New York Times in this case did, explaining the GOP's misleading talking point on the looming shutdown. This is what the Democrats are actually looking to do. The Democrats' budget proposal seeks to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies set to expire at the end of the year and roll back Medicaid cuts in the Tax Cut and Domestic Policy Law signed by President Trump in July. But the proposal does not provide free health care for unauthorized immigrants. Black and white. In fact, unauthorized immigrants are largely barred from federally funded health care programs. They cannot buy health care plans on government exchanges set up by the Affordable Care Act and therefore cannot receive any subsidies. They are also ineligible for Medicaid, Medicare, and the Children's Health Insurance Program. The Democrats' budget proposal does not make them eligible for these programs. What has happened is that you and other MAGA creators on other social media platforms have fallen for the lie that the Republican leadership is peddling. Unauthorized immigrants are not eligible for federal funds for health care. Full stop. And the Democrats are not looking to change that. What they have proposed does not change that. However, you and I agree on one point. We don't think that Americans should struggle to pay for health insurance, right? I agree with you. That's why you agree with me in saying that we should have universal health care. Now, yes, it's true. We would need a new tax to pay for that. We would need all to pay into a health tax. But we would eliminate health insurance, and therefore no more health insurance premiums, which you and I agree are too high, right? So what difference does it make what we call it? You show me a health tax that's cheaper than my health insurance premiums because everyone's paying into the health tax. Give me the cheaper option, especially if it means that you and I and everybody else gets health care coverage. Mind blown. You and I both want universal health care.
When Republicans tell their MAGA voters that Democrats are fighting for health care for illegal immigrants, I mean, does that make sense to them? What would be the upside? I'm one of the people the Democrats are fighting for their health care because I'm on the Affordable Care Act, because I own a small business and I have for 15 years. I'm actually working right now in my garage, packaging things up. It's not a glamorous job. And I get my health care that I can afford for my family off the Affordable Care Act. And the premium is about to go up 85%. Why would Democrats be fighting for health care for illegal immigrants? People who are here undocumented. Those people are afraid to go to work right now. They're not going to hospitals and doctors' offices, and it's already illegal for them to get health care through Medicaid. That's not something that exists. And they're rounding these people up and sending them out of the country. What would be the upside for Democrats to fight for that? I mean, I just want to know, how does that make sense to them? How do they just hear that and believe it? Democrats are fighting for health care for U.S. citizens like myself and many other families.
Here's what you need to know about this government shutdown. Healthcare edition. Y'all, they're going to cave. Whether you like it or not, the minority party in this country will cave in order for this government to be funded. Now, I think it's noble of them really want to fight for the social programming in this country, for them to stand up and say, I want to protect Medicare and Medicaid, and I want to make sure that they're funded. And I think it's noble that they're trying to use that as leverage to really push the majority political party to really hear them out. However, the majority party only need 8 of the minority party, which is the Democrats, to fund the government. Once with a minority party or the Democrats start hearing from their constituents who are impacted by the government shutdown, who are going to be losing a lot of things because of the government being shut down, it is going to put them in a situation where they're going to have to sadly give in to the majority political party, which is right now the Republicans. But if you are working in healthcare like me, we were never going to win. It was never going to work in our favor. And it doesn't matter whether the government is funded or not. We lost when the majority party, the Republicans, put in those extensive cuts into Medicare and Medicaid. And we are going to lose when the minority party caves in. We'll still have to accept the cuts to Medicare and Medicaid, even if they are reduced by a small 10, 20%. We have already lost. It's not going to ever be a situation where Medicare and Medicaid will be off the table here. And that's what people in healthcare need to understand, which I do believe we do. Healthcare in general is on the table. It's being cut up in slices, whether it's the H-1B visas, whether it's Medicare and Medicaid, or whether it's our research. We are no longer going to be a safe place that's no longer touched by our government, unfortunately. But if you have any thoughts, leave it down below. Love to hear what you think.
My friend who's retired, I believe she's 67 now, just got her Medicare Advantage premium details for next year. And her out-of-pocket maximum expense went from $4,200 a year to over $10,000. So if she has some kind of emergency where she requires hospitalization or emergency room care on a retiree's income, she gets to pay up to $10,200. This is Republican policy. She lives in the state of Indiana. And this is what all the cuts to everything are doing, all the budget cuts to every state. And these are the decisions each state is making individually on what's going to be cut, who's going to have to pay more. And people think that there's going to be an end to this shutdown. You've got Caroline Leavitt lying, Donald Trump lying about all these people not getting paid, all of these layoffs. They don't give a rat's ass about layoffs. If they did, they would have cared about the 280,000 federal workers who lost their job because the guy who runs X and his little 19-year-olds wanted to give so much more money to the billionaire class in tax cuts that they just stuck it to all of us. They didn't care about those 280,000 employees, former employees. And now we're coming up to nearly 1 million Americans laid off because of the tariffs, because of all the funding cuts, because of all the deportations. Almost 1 million employees. They don't care about them. They don't care about them. And to think that Republicans actually believe this administration cares about the government workers being furloughed right now over this shutdown thing. Macro view. Project 2025 wants the Affordable Care Act completely dismantled. They're gutting it. This is on their way to doing that. Once it's gutted, there'll be no more government subsidies for any of us, meaning our tax dollars being pooled collectively and then dispersed to bring down our healthcare costs. No, instead, they're going to privatize everything. So their cronies are going to make a shit ton of money, starting companies that can fill the need or just giving contracts to the companies that already exist, all those MAGA donors. And nothing will be for us. Everything will be out of pocket. We are fucked. So this shutdown is not going to end because Republicans care about people being laid off or because they care about how much we're going to be paying for health care. So there you go. In the meanwhile, look for all your premium hikes next year. And now foreclosures, it was just announced, foreclosures are at an all-time high because people can't afford to live in their homes. It's all coming together swimmingly.
Hey family, so I'm on the way to a rally with healthcare workers who are speaking up against the government shutdown, but on the way, I had to stop by the pharmacy to get my own prescription because as you all know, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and depending on my insurance, my meds could cost more than my rent and car payment combined on a monthly basis. And today I walked in to the pharmacy and walked out without my prescription. I couldn't afford it. It was nearly $600. And while I'm working with GoodRx and I'll figure it out, this isn't about me. It is about what this moment means for so many who are already struggling to afford to live. And it is certainly why I support Medicare for all, but it is especially why Democrats and anyone who supports human rights must speak up in this moment. Because while Donald Trump and his big money politicians are playing money grab, millions of Americans could lose their health care or see their premiums skyrocket. Standing up in this moment is not about politics. It is literally about our lives. And I tell my story so that you know you can tell yours too. But we have to lift our voices. We have to stand together. It's on us. I'm going to do my part, and I know you will as well. Love you.
We've got big news on the Obamacare funding front. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a huge MAGA member of Congress, Republican from the House, Trump's biggest defender, has caved and said we need to fund the Obamacare, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act subsidies, and fund them now. This is what Democrats have been demanding. This is why the government was shut down, because Republicans wouldn't fund it, among other reasons. And for her to admit it, she said, my kids' premiums are going to double if we don't fix this. And I don't like Obamacare, she said, but I don't want the premiums to double. That's ridiculous. She's admitting what Democrats are saying is true. The premiums will double unless the Republicans fix this. She's also admitting that Democrats are this whole shutdown, this whole issue of what Democrats are asking for is to fix the subsidies. It's not to help illegals. It's to help people like Marjorie Taylor Greene's kids. She's admitting it. This is a big deal, guys. She's a wacko. This is the one who claimed that Jews had space lasers in space that were starting forest fires. She's crazy. For her to come along as such a huge Trumper is a huge deal. It also explains why they're out of session this week and why they're on vacation, because the House Speaker, the Republican, didn't want them here because he was afraid they were going to cave.
Well, y'all Democrats have done it now. You know y'all senators that's voted to shut the government down 5 straight times now? Well, y'all fixing to have to go to work because y'all ain't going to get no food stamps next month. And you know that Section 8 housing that y'all rely on? Y'all ain't going to get none of that shit either, or none of those damn welfare checks deposited into your bank account. And you know what's pitiful? We got women having fresh-born babies out here that can't even get on that WIC program, all because of y'all senators that keeps voting to shut the damn government down. They rely on that WIC program to buy that baby formula for those newborn babies, and they can't afford that shit. When are y'all gonna talk to y'all senators and tell them that the American people are way more important than people from outside of the damn country? It's time for them to make America great again.
All right, so government is shut down. House Republicans aren't even in Washington, which means I've got some time on my hands. So drop your Q&As and I'll answer them throughout today and tomorrow. And yeah, let me know. No, not even a little bit, not even at all. This is what Republicans love to do. Whenever we fight to elevate the minimum wage, to expand Social Security, to make healthcare better in this country, in order to derail that, Republicans love to dangle this shiny object that says, but what if someone not like you gets it? The fact of the matter is, undocumented people do not and cannot access and be covered by the ACA, Medicaid, Medicare, period. There are dozens of laws in the books that enforce that, and that can be a whole other conversation. However, the fact is the Democratic proposal doesn't change that either. We are trying to change the immediate cliff where the ACA, as well as community health center funding and other kinds of healthcare funding, are about to go off a cliff and hurt millions of people. Almost everyone's. Almost everybody's. And I want to explain to you why. There is this misconception that some people have, which is, well, if I have insurance and someone else doesn't have insurance, that's not my problem. It is our problem, because it doesn't matter whether you have insurance or not. People still get diagnosed with cancer. They still get hit by cars. Accidents still happen. And when they go in, those costs are borne by everybody. And it is absorbed in many different ways, including your premiums going up. So there are a lot of ways in which treating healthcare as a right and looking at systems like Medicare for All actually lowers costs for a lot of people because we all pay into it. All right, so we've got some commenter submissions here. Equal opportunity, Republicans, independents, Democrats chiming in. This guy, insanity, self-employed and already spending $2,200 a month for a family of 4, not eligible for any subsidies. This is not the fault of the GOP. Well, first and foremost, you paying this much amount a month for a family of 4 is, in fact, insanity. This is the broken healthcare system of the United States. It's jacked up, and it's also leading to record profits for massive corporations and their CEOs. Not eligible for any subsidies either. Also crazy. You know what? I was actually in that same position. As a waitress, I could not afford ACA insurance. It was cheaper for me to go uninsured. However, this is not the fault of the GOP. I hate to burst your bubble. However, let's not be naive here. There are some industries in Washington that are bipartisan. Their lobbyists do not care what political party you are registered with. If you take their money and if you're willing to work with them, they're going to work with you. So if you think that the Republican Party is not lock, stock, and barrel with United Healthcare, with Aetna, with Blue Cross Blue Shield, just look at the little tax cut policy that they passed earlier this year for only the largest corporations like that to benefit from people at the expense of people not getting public health care coverage.
The shutdown fight has exposed how broken our healthcare system is. Can you believe that premiums are going to go up 100% for 24 million American families if we don't extend the tax credits for the Affordable Care Act? That means tens of thousands of people will go without care, and thousands of people will simply die without care. The reality is we need Medicare for all in this country. Every person from the day they are born should have health care. This is the time to reintroduce the idea of Medicare for all and start to demand that we vote on it in the Capitol.
So here's the deal. The US government shutdown didn't only close offices. It hit healthcare hard. And when we mean by that, we mean federal programs like Medicare got delayed, and a lot of healthcare workers and hospitals had to deal with chaos in funding. And basically, the people who need care the most are the ones who are suffering the most.
No, this is where it's frustrating most. The doctors are working and they are getting a lot of patients, but they are being paid less. Others are saying that they can be paid because the hospital can't process the payment because government systems are off for days.
I mean, imagine you as a patient, you've gone to surgery and your insurance claim didn't go through, all because of a shutdown glitch. Seriously, that doesn't even make sense. You can also hear of pharmacists also claiming that prescriptions have been delaying. This has become so chaotic, not only on healthcare, it has affected so many departments.
What really breaks my heart is seeing veterans, single parents, and even low-income families struggle the most.
And we have also seen from a few who are unable to refill their medications, and others are also getting billed for their cancelled appointments. I mean, that's so crazy. And it's like the system is punishing the sick instead of helping them. Tell us, what's the solution? Because for healthcare workers, they are so exhausted, and many say they haven't even been paid properly for weeks.
So frustrating.
Tell us in the comments if you are a healthcare worker and if this has impacted and affected you. Tell us in the comments.
Some healthcare experts are warning about this shutdown, and they're saying it may expose just how fragile our system is.
And meanwhile, our dearly beloved politicians are busy arguing on the internet and on the televisions, determining who will be the winner. It's between the Democrats and the Republicans. I mean, that is not the war we should be trying to resolve right now. The war we are trying to resolve right now is on healthcare, is on how it will benefit the citizens and not benefit the Democrats and the Republicans. I mean, it's not about the government officials. It's about the people you are leading. And the people you are leading right now, they are frustrated, they are tired, and I mean, others are even giving up on America, and they are even shifting to other countries, all because of what? The government can't come to a standoff.
What do you think about all this? Did the shutdown expose the truth about Americans' healthcare system?
Tell us in the comments below if this has impacted you trying to buy prescriptions in the pharmacy, and if you have faced any challenges in the healthcare system. Tell us in the comments below. And finally, credit goes to all the respective owners of the clips and content used in our video. Your thoughts and perspectives made today's work possible.
And if you found this video helpful, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for us. We will really appreciate, and also give us a thumbs up.
Don't forget to comment your honest thoughts And finally, don't forget to hit that notification bell for future updates.
And as usual,
see you in the next video.